turn my mic on so maybe you can hear me a little better now. I didn't notice that. Again, good morning, everyone. I guess we'll start. Hannah, we'll start with employee recognition.
Awesome. Jenny, would you mind coming up? I'm really excited this morning, commissioners and those in attendance, to recognize Jenny Johnson this morning. Good morning, Jenny. Jenny is being recognized today as she's retiring at the end of July after 33 years of service with McLeod County, and she's within our Health and Human Services unit in the department within the Child Protection Unit as a licensed social worker. And so we just want to thank Jenny for her years and years of service and for all of her knowledge, skills, and dedication to McLeod County. So I'd love to ask that we give Jenny a round of applause this morning. I'm going to invite her supervisor up as well to just say a few words, and then Jenny, if you have anything you'd like to say, but mainly we're excited that you're here with us this morning. So Sally, we'll have you come on up and join Jenny at the podium.
Okay, we're going to get this over with, and then I'll commence. All right. So 21 years and 8 months ago, approximately, I became employed with McLeod County and met Jenny. My first memory of Jenny is her, Bonnie, Jerry Schimmelfling, and I traveling to Carver County for a meeting, and Jenny telling me that she had been a CP worker for 13 years, and I thought that sounded like an absolute eternity. And here we are, 20 plus years later, recognizing and celebrating Jenny's career and upcoming retirement. I have been Jenny's trainee. Sorry.
You breathe through your mouth, it helps.
Okay, then I probably won't pass out either. No. I knew this was going to happen. Anyway, so I've been Jenny's trainee, her coworker, and her supervisor, and I think her friend. We have shared work experiences and many life experiences, happy and some very sad. It is likely I have spent more time with her than some of my family members during this time. So to say that I will miss my almost daily contact with Jenny is an understatement. But Jenny's exit from social work from McLeod County is well-deserved, and I'm very happy for her. Her days of helping people from 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, is drawing to a close. In reflecting on her work, I was at a loss as to how to actually sum it up, and I thought to myself, well, good luck with that. Jenny has done CP investigations, family assessments, case management of both types, intake, and taking lots of on-call weekends. But her specialty by far is adoptions. I'm sure the number of children that Jenny has helped to find their forever homes is in the hundreds. Finalizing adoptions brings so much joy to the children and their new families, and to assist them through that process is one of the most fulfilling parts of child protection work. One of the most successful adoptions that I had the privilege of working on Jenny with was our sibling group of 7. And to this day, Jenny continues to have contact with this family, has assisted them with some continued difficulties with the bio family, and been invited to their high school graduation. It has been so much fun to watch the kids become so healthy and happy despite how their lives started. Jenny invests in and values these relationships. I also have some emails that I have saved, and I'm going to share that are some of the examples of her thoughtful work with clients and providers, and probably emulates her work better than I can even say. This one is from a foster care provider, and talking about a young lady who we struggled with, literally chased across the countryside. She hated Jenny for the longest time. So this is this one. So this is from the foster care provider. Thank you. Linda has come a long way and in a much better spot. Most girls complain about their worker, and Linda smiles and says she's lucky to have you. Every girl wants you. Lots of laughs. Most are different counties, but since you are talked so highly of, I have another McLeod County girl asking if she can switch to you. You become pretty popular around here without any of them even knowing you. But you truly are one of the best workers I worked with. I appreciate it a lot. You definitely put in the work with Linda. For so long, she saw you as the enemy, but now that she's older and wiser, she sees you were just helping her, as she has said this. I think finally, seeing that her mom can be toxic and wasn't a mother to her, she realizes everyone was looking out for her. This one is kind of a blast from the past. This is 2014. Short but sweet. So this is a response to Jenny's email asking if it was okay that she closed her case. And she's like, Rebecca says, "Hi, yes, I missed your earlier email. I'm sorry. You know how busy things get around here. But yes, I'm okay with our case closing. You've helped line up a great in-home therapist, got us caught up on some bills, provided some great family fun activities for us, and we are going to continue to build our family time and keep up with therapists and all that other crazy, busy, necessary things. Thank you." This one, I think, is probably a near and dear case to Jenny's heart. It was actually a reunification case for a mom who was a horrible addict, and she just really worked through her case and is doing really well, continues to have contact with Jenny, and she will send pictures every once in a while. So this is one of those. Hi, Jenny. Just said I'd send you some updated pictures of the kids. We are doing very well here in Idaho. I'm in the process of buying a house. I have a great job, and the kids are extremely happy here with their older sister, Lily. Thank you for everything you did for us, Jenny. We wouldn't be here where we are today if it wasn't for you. The next one is actually after an adoption finalization, the bio parents will have like a goodbye visit. And so this was Jenny checking in with that mom, telling her that she had done a really nice job helping her daughter through that. And she's like, "Thank you. I really needed to hear that. This is by far the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my life. I try my absolute best to hold it together for her. She's so smart and picks up on everything. I just at least hope that while she's not able to see me, that Kristen will be able to be involved as much as possible. My biggest fear is that Raylene feeling abandoned, so everything has been such a struggle emotionally. I do want you to know I really appreciate all of your supports and everything you've done for Raylene and I throughout our time. She knows she's loved by so many people. She's going to have a good life. Thank you." This was one from a coworker. Adoption hearing went well. Several of the full extended family members were in attendance. The child was alert and active, and said that of all the social workers that they have worked with, you are the best, always on top of things and great to work with. That's from Michelle Delwich. And I think this is my last but not least letter. Hi, this is from Brenda, actually. "Hi, Jenny. I just thought I would let you know I met with Paul and Karen Schwing last night, and they said you were great to work with. They said you returned their calls, answered their questions, and they appreciated your guidance." So one of the things Jenny's known for is her steel trap memory, and we are going to miss her recall of cases and past events. And I really hope that she gets busy writing that book so that we can all be immortalized. I also need to apologize that we never did get that pool party figured out for the Christmas party. So thank you, Jenny, for your compassionate, dedicated, consistent hard work you have done for the children of McLeod County. You will be greatly missed.
Jenny, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here this morning, and I want to thank your team for being here this morning too. It's really sweet to have such a supportive group. Anything you'd like to share before we move into our next?
It changed my mind.
Yeah.
So it's time. Doing child protection for 33 years is a long haul, but I couldn't have done it without my great unit and the support from all of them and law enforcement.
We'll miss you.
Thanks.
It's a great testament to hear. I mean, I know it's sad, but you're gonna get some time off for yourself now, and you're still around, and I can see that your team is just a phone call away anyway. So I mean, not that it's just a great testament, and the growth that you gave to these people is going to be great for McLeod County.
It is true that Jenny took a lot of on-call time. And we joked about it before the meeting, but every time I called, and I called a lot, Jenny's the one that answered the phone. So, and she was always very, very level-headed. Believe it or not, had to calm me down sometimes. And I know it. And took care of the kids and the cops and everybody all at the same time. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Sounds like some pretty big shoes to fill, but I do want to say thank you for sharing those emails so that anyone watching this today can hear the real stories that it is possible to take a bad situation and turn it around, and that is done with extremely good staff. So thank you, Jenny, and to your entire department for that.
Thank you very much, and happy retirement.
Thank you.
Jenny, if you don't mind, we're just going to do a quick photo with the commissioners. If you guys don't mind standing, and then we'll meet with you and you out in the hallway as well. Thank you so much. I'm just going to do this really quick here. Do you mind standing right there, Jenny? And then we'll have just the commissioners stand up. There you go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. Let's give one more round of applause for Jenny.
Do you want a picture with your staff at all? Thanks again, Jenny, and I hope you have a great retirement.
Yeah, thank you.
Well deserved.
You can change your mind if you want.
I was gonna tell her, you guys didn't tell her that she had to bring somebody back in with equal strengths before she could go, but you guys were so somber, I didn't want. Consideration of agenda items.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Wright to approve the agenda items. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Any changes?
No changes. Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright, seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, another good thing, I guess, Darcy, University Extension.
Good morning. Let me get this hooked up here. Hopefully we're gonna- All right, cool.
There we go.
All right, well, good morning. My name is Darcy Cole. I'm your 4-H Extension educator. And this morning, McKenna Wright and I are going to present about a trip that she recently took. But I'm going to turn it over to McKenna so she can introduce herself to all of you.
My name is McKenna Wright. This is my 11th year in 4-H, and I'm from the club Acoma Acorns, where I show livestock, do general projects, and I'm involved in many leadership roles.
Wonderful. All right, so McKenna went on a trip towards the end of June called Citizenship Washington Focus, also known as CWF in 4-H. You can see on the image here where those 4-Hers who attended from Minnesota came from. There were 37 youth from across the state that did attend, and they represented 16 different local programs, and those were the counties that are highlighted in green, are the counties that had youth participating in them. So you can see McLeod is one of the few that went, and they had 6 chaperones that attended with them. Most of those were staff or volunteers within our program that helped ensure that they were safe and that they had a good trip. So that's kind of where the demographics of where those 4-Hers came from. Through participating in CWF, our 4-H youth, here's some of the objectives of the trip. First of all, that they develop and refine skills needed to be able to share their voice on issues that they care about. We also ensure that they have the opportunity to get some time to explore our nation's capital. So they're there doing, obviously, some work, but they also have some sightseeing time, so that they get the opportunity to see some of those things that they may not have the opportunity to explore outside of a trip like this. They also have the opportunity to meet some members of Congress, and McKenna will talk about that day specifically and share some pictures and some things that she did with them. They also have the opportunity to hear a lot of different motivational speakers throughout the time that they're there, because they're there for just about a week. And the speakers come in and talk about a very wide variety of topics with the youth that do attend. They also, while there, participate in educational workshops and assemblies that will increase their individual commitment to citizen involvement, so helps them understand civil discourse and also how to be involved in their government and how to speak up for and advocate for issues that matter to them. And they also, while there, they also attend a series of speakers. They have some committee work time. They get to go on a lot of field trips. And they also have some social events so that they get the opportunity to meet not only youth from across Minnesota, but also youth from other states. Because while our Minnesota delegates are there, there are also youth from other states that are representing their local and state programs as well. So it's just a good opportunity for them to learn about other 4-H programs and what youth in other states are doing. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to McKenna for pretty much all of the rest of it because she was there and I wasn't. So she can share with you a little bit about what she did each day as well as what she learned while she was there. So McKenna?
Oh, I got to find out where to start now. So technically, I guess this was the day that the trip actually started on. But before that, since we had to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning, we all stayed at a hotel in the cities, and that's where I met the two people I was with most of the time for the trip. So we had 3 different flights to get to Maryland, and once we got there we had an hour-long bus ride, and that was absolutely dreadful because it was like 1 o'clock already and none of us have ate breakfast or dinner or anything. So once we got to the hotel and we got situated and everything like that, we went and explored the area and found some food, and that was kind of like our Minnesota team bonding moment because all of us were starving, so we kind of bonded over food. So that was just great. And then we went back to the hotel, not even an hour later we ate again. And then while we ate, we had a short meeting with some higher-up people in 4-H where they kind of told us who our group leaders were going to be, how everything was kind of set up for the week. And then we started our state pin trade. So the photo on the right is all of the pins and things that I managed to get from the pin trade. So we had 5 other states with us. We had Iowa, South Dakota, Ohio, Kansas, and Oklahoma. My highlight of that day was probably the pin trade because yes, Minnesota is great, but I also like learning about different agricultural aspects and different people in different states. And I'd say Oklahoma was probably my favorite ones to meet. Okay, so this was day 2. So right away in the morning, we went to go see the FDR Memorial, MLK, World War I, and the White House. So on the bottom left, the really long picture, that is going to be the World War I memorial. That's just a picture, but they're going to do this really cool carving into the stone behind it. And the story is kind of telling about a soldier's life going from the beginning of the war to the end of the war. So after we saw those, we went back to the hotel and we had a workshop on active listening and civil discourse skills. And that was fun because inside of our workshops was a few people from each state. Once we were done with our workshops, we had delegation time, which is just people from Minnesota, where we met up with everybody and we came up with an action plan for a current issue in our communities. Minnesota did a plan on raising awareness and funds to decrease the amount of aquatic invasive species. Once we were done meeting as a state, we went out for night view, where we saw the World War II Memorial, Vietnam Memorial, Korean War Memorial, Lincoln and Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial. And then something cool that we really got to see was Joe Biden was coming back to the White House by plane, and we saw him going to the White House, and that was really cool. My highlight and what I learned was a lot of the history of Washington, D.C. and how it came to be. On the third day, we drove by embassy houses to get to the Arlington Cemetery and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The coolest thing about the Unknown Soldier was seeing the switching of the guards that we got to see twice, which was really cool. Within that 2 times, we saw 3 people get yelled at, so that was fun, and it scared us a lot. And then I was on the car with South Dakota, and that was really fun because they kind of sometimes have a funny way of talking. So I met a lot of people from there. And then we went to the Marine Corps Memorial, and that was really cool because one of our chaperones named Leah, she told us, because she's been on this trip many, many times, that every time she goes there, she'll walk around the memorial because from different angles, it'll look like they're actually putting the flag up. My highlight was talking about, oh wait, I missed a part. Anyways, once we got back to the hotel, we had a town hall discussion, which was in our workshop groups, but it's called town hall this time. So within that, it was kind of a way to practice our civil discourse that we learned before. So we talked about gun control, mental health importance, and dress codes. Then we worked with delegation time to continue working on our share fare plan. So day 4 was about the busiest day, and we were all dreadfully tired. But when we woke up, we went to Capitol Hill right away, and we saw the Capitol building and the Supreme Court building. Then we went and talked to Amy Klobuchar's staff, talked to our legislators, and I got to talk to Michelle Fishbeck about peacocks, agriculture, and all the things that she is in. And I learned that she had peacocks, and she had a problem with them spreading manure everywhere on her property. So me and her kind of bonded over peacocks.
Because McKenna also has peacocks. So that was
Yeah.
why it was their bonding thing.
So then, as we were kind of waiting for all the rest of the groups to finish up, we went and saw the Botanic Garden, and I was kind of sad because they said that they just moved the corpse flower. So I was kind of disappointed about that, but oh well. So then we went and we ate, and then we went to something called Twilight Tattoo, which is the U.S. Army's Twilight Tattoo is an action-packed military pageant featuring soldiers from the U.S. Army Military District of Washington's Memorial Units. Or the way I put it, it talks about the military, and it looked like what it looked like at different points in the past and now in the present.
Yes, we did not get our 4-Hers tattoos while they were there. So that's why we wanted McKenna to explain to you what that is. But you can see the picture in the top right is a picture of that Twilight tattoo that she's talking about. Just a really neat opportunity to be able to see kind of the history of some of the military in our country.
So day 5, this was probably my second favorite day. Besides for day 4, I guess. It's close. But anyways, so we started the day with the Holocaust Museum, then we went to the National Museum of African American History, and then we had just walk around time. So me and one of my friends from Two Harbors, Minnesota, named Isabel, went to the National Archives Museum, the National Museum of Natural History, and the National Museum of American History. And then once we were done with all of that, we went and had delegation action plan share fare. So we were paired up with South Dakota to talk about our plans. So, yeah, we talked about how we're going to work with the DNR and other people in our community to raise awareness and funds.
Yeah, so that share fare was essentially their time for them to be able to share with the larger group what they came up for that plan around aquatic invasive species that McKenna shared.
So on this day, this was probably one of my favorite days because I'm really into history. I love learning about history, and when you're walking through all of these museums, you really learn the significance of teaching people all about the Holocaust and everything.
All right, and if you have not yet seen, I think it was last Wednesday's paper, there was an awesome article that Jeremy Jones from the Hutchinson Leader wrote about McKenna Strip. We did an interview with him, so make sure you check that out because there's some pictures in there and also just a lot more information about what she did and what she experienced. So make sure you look at that. With that, we'd love to entertain any questions that you have about McKenna Strip. And maybe, McKenna, you want to just share like what your big takeaways were of the trip as well.
Okay. Well, my big takeaways would probably be the pin trade because of meeting everybody in 4-H, and then going to all of the memorials and just seeing around Washington, D.C.
The pin trade, is that what it really means? Did you, where I seen the pins there, and some of them were older pins. What does that really mean? Did you have pins with you, or did you trade,
Yeah.
or
So,
virtual swap meet type trade? Or?
Kind of.
in Minnesota, before the trip even really started, we got a little Ziploc bag that had about 20 pins in it.
They're just Minnesota pins, that show like Minnesota 4-H kind of representing our program. And other states bring something similar. So you could see, if we get way back there to, you can see some of them brought, buttons. Some of them had pins, either with their state or whatever. But each delegate brings with them some pins that represent their program, their state. And then they just have the opportunity to interact and mingle and get to know each other and then trade pins amongst each other. So they have these to bring back with them as souvenirs from their trip.
And going back to the beginning, I seen McLeod was kind of an island here. What are the qualifications or why? It looks like you had a nice delegation, but why not more? I mean, is there?
Great question. So the trip is advertised across the state to all 4-Hers. It is a little bit of a commitment because it is about a week, and there's also some pre-work and pre-meetings that they do before going. So I think that that's part of it. Is it's a fairly large commitment for you to participate in that. There is a little bit of cost associated with it, but a lot of 4-Hers are getting support from their counties or their clubs or other places, so it isn't necessarily an expensive trip for them to attend. And I think what tends to happen is if you have youth in your program who go, they tell other youth about the good experience, and then they go too. Just because, like most things, word of mouth, positive, is going to be the best promoter for it. So I'm not really sure why. Like I said, we're necessarily an island, but yes, we are. If you look at, there aren't a whole lot around. You can see they kind of group together. You've got a corner in the southwest. You got a corner up in that northwest, and then a few others here and there. But like I said, it is a larger commitment, so that's probably why there isn't quite as many kiddos that do attend the trip.
And there was probably like 4 of the counties that actually had more than one person. A lot of the counties only had one person go.
Mm-hmm.
McKenna, when you met with the legislators, you said you met with Senator Klobuchar's staff, which is unfortunate, but it's typical. That happens to us all the time too. And then met Representative Fishbach. Did you meet any legislators from other states? Or did they separate South Dakota and Minnesota and all that during that?
They separated all of us,
Okay,
so
you
those
didn't
are
get
the
to meet
only
any
ones.
from any other states? Okay.
She got out of chores for a week too, by the way.
Yeah. I think
Yes.
that was the best part.
Probably one of the best, right?
What's this 3-flight deal? Can't we book you a little more direct flight next time? Or?
It was only supposed to be 2. We were only supposed to stop in, I think it was Chicago. And then all of a sudden, we had a surprise stop at Cincinnati. So,
Surprise, huh?
Yeah.
That's never good. Did it rain on you out there?
no, we think that somehow it just got forgotten
Okay.
in the planning because nothing was really going on. It was just a stop.
Okay.
So,
I can't resist to ask, why do you say South Dakota stopped funny?
have friends from South Dakota, and they say I talk funny.
Right. Do you think they talk funny? Do you have an answer for that, McKenna? Why do you think they talk funny?
I don't know.
You just sound weird.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy too. I don't think I've ever seen such a lively group at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Can you give me the short version? I heard that in the beginning, how Washington D.C. was determined.
Was what?
How would it be, the location of it? How do,
So the trip actually is always to Washington every year, and part of it is the fact that they want them to be able to meet with different members of Congress while they're there, and be able to see the nation's capital and some of the history of our country. So the trip actually goes there every year. It's the same location for that, and that's why, like McKenna said, some of those chaperones or tour guides or group leaders have been there lots and lots of times as part of this trip. So how they determined originally that that was where they're going to go, I don't know. Like I said, my assumption is just based on the learning objectives of being able to teach them about civil discourse and get to meet with members of Congress and get to see some of our nation's history.
And they actually have a building out there that was specifically used for this trip, but during COVID they had to sell it, so now it's at a hotel.
thank you.
Well, love it or hate it, I mean, that's just a good place to learn history. That's where a lot of it all started. I have to admit, that's a good place for people to go. And before you leave, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but are you not a contestant for Princess Kay of the Milky Way?
No, that's my sister.
That's what the other one said.
Okay.
Any other questions or things that you'd like to know from McKenna or myself?
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
This is always nice.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to come and share with you and for you to be able to see some of the pictures and hear firsthand from McKenna about her trip and the incredible things that she learned. So thank you, McKenna.
Yeah, spread the word to more of the 4-H'ers. That's because it looks like a trip. I mean, a good education.
It is for sure. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff's Office, Will.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here today to get approval to purchase a CR Moto 500S ATV with winch from Yamaha Motorsports Marine at a price of $6,550.50. Funds will be coming from the STS budget. We're going to be using this for both the STS program, scout trails, move equipment for the parks, whatever we need it for. The Sheriff's Office could also dual use it for their youth ATV class or search and rescue if and when needed.
Are we using anything right now?
We don't have an ATV for the right now. We have a Bobcat like UTV, but we don't have any ATVs.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Nagel to approve the purchase. Is there any discussion? Again, my only question would be, I know we're trying to, we now have our own STS, so and we're trying to utilize them more. And I guess you feel this would be, it's pretty hard to get out on a trail walk. I mean, if you're going to walk out a couple miles, you can't drive with the pickup. So I can see the use of how you're going to use it, or even to some other work sites that are probably not right off a road. So that's kind of the plan, to take the equipment and stuff with that to get out there. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. To help tool, move the equipment, chainsaws if we need to, if it's off the trails or however we can.
Any other questions or discussion for Will? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
while we wait, and I think this is maybe what you were trying to get at a little bit too. We have a lot of vehicle purchases. We have a lot of vehicles and equipment out there, but I don't know if I have seen it. I don't have it at my fingertips. Sheila, I guess that's a request for you, are you able to direct the department heads to give us an inventory of what they have for vehicles and ATVs, UTVs, and direct that toward us, so when we get those questions, we know where we're at? I'm not talking like chainsaws or generators, or at least not yet, but more of the vehicle type deals. Can you do that for us, please?
Yeah, and we have the asset inventory, but actually Spencer Bauer and I met on this. We've been meeting on this, but
Yep.
we just met on it yesterday. So we have a session coming up of 8 hours where we're gathering all of the information about the vehicle inventory and the fleets to get you.
So if we could see
Yeah.
that, I'd
Yep.
really like that.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and it's great to know. I mean, those things are used properly. They can save a lot of work. Mark, Environmental Services. Good morning.
Hey, gentlemen. One request for you this morning. It is a request made by Bell Lake Association to distribute $9,835.36 from the AIS budget. And this would be for a second-year treatment of Eurasian water milfoil, EWM. The first treatment was done last year, was very effective. This would be for a new area. Total cost of the project is $10,920.18, and the Bell Lake Association is required per our program application to match 10% of the total cost. So their responsibility would be $1,092.82. So again, they're asking for us to distribute $9,835.36 for the second treatment. It will be just south of the East Landing, for those that are familiar with that, to the lagoon on Petenburg Park. There is an area that's been identified there that has a pretty aggressive stand of Eurasian water milfoil. So with that being said, if there are questions for me, I'd be happy to answer. Lynn Splickgerber is the president of the Lake Association. He's here also in attendance if you have questions for him.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
No, I think this is great and that the funds are for. I didn't mean to cut you off, but and I'm always willing to listen to Lynn, but I'm gonna move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Discussion. I do have, I know they have a dedicated, enthusiastic bunch up there, so I know that. Could you, either one of you, define the last year's treatment being effective? I mean, everybody says that, and I have no doubt that that's true. But what does that really mean? I mean, could you noticeably look at it and see there was? I mean, milfoil is obviously.
Well, if I could, I'd invite Lynn out. I'll speak from a sportsman's perspective because I actually fished the lake.
And that's what I really wanted.
I fished the lake quite a bit. So the area that was treated last year, there was a pretty substantial area right in front of Lynn's place on the south side of the lake, southwest side of the lake. It was pretty dense, and the treatment was very effective. There is not a lot of vegetation or milfoil there today, and so it's definitely helped on the recreation side of that. As a fisherman, I enjoy the milfoil because as the summer progresses and the waters heat up, the fish like to head to the vegetation for cover. So, on the north side of the lake, they've identified, with the help of the DNR, some stands, some aggressive stands that are starting to pop up. But what they're asking for this year, again, is in and around the park in the lagoon area, which is going to assist with our park. So it was a logical request, in my opinion. I did meet with Lynn and Mark Schnobrecht. So last year's treatment definitely knocked down the milfoil that they targeted. The group that they've used, Clark Environmental, said that this treatment will be effective for 3 years, and then that milfoil will start to slowly come back. But again, the funds that we distribute, or we get from the state for this, is exactly what the request is for.
What happened? I mean, I don't want to act completely. I've talked about this before, but is it like a systemic, or does it get in and it just dies and goes away, or? And you answered part of my question. You said it lasts about 3 years before it starts to come back. Is what
Yeah, so milfoil is a shallow-rooted plant, and it will reseed itself over and over and over again. So you can treat it and kill what you know, but there's also small stands that are starting that haven't necessarily grown and become emergent. And you are going to chase this issue You know, it's something that I don't think we'll be able to eradicate. I don't believe that the state, the University of Minnesota, their aquatic invasive research team has figured out a way to eradicate this. But they have found treatment methods that are, you know, environmental friendly, and this is one of them. So there's two treatments that they use, two different chemicals. Procelicor is the one that Clark is using for Bell Lake Association, and again, it's an effective treatment, and it is doing what it's supposed to do. Unfortunately, it's not a permanent solution.
Sure. Well, it sounds like Commissioner Nagel said, it sounds like a good use of the funds, so.
Then what do you hear from other residents on the lake with the treatment?
Well, it's been a learning curve the last 2 years for me, working with these people. It amazed me last year. You could stand on my dock and look down, and I had milfoil as far as you could see, you know, up on the surface of the water. And I've been working with a gal by the name of Amy Kay out of Clark Industries. And I asked this before we even started the process for asking for grant monies, how effective is this? And she said, we've seen great things happening in Wisconsin and the state of Minnesota where we've applied this stuff, and they give you a 3-year guarantee. If they put down Procelicor last year like they did and it comes back in my 10-acre area, they're going to retreat it for nothing as our cost or your cost or anyone's monies, which I was very impressed with. And we haven't followed through, of course, because this is only the 2nd year of application. But my point with this is when they applied that material back on the first week of August last summer, I came back every day like I do. I use my dock and boat every day. But within 3 days, this crazy plant, if I can call it that, was dissipating. It was amazing. You know, it's like using Weed Be Gone. But this is a very friendly, user-friendly application chemical, which I'm pleased with. You can swim in it same day, or your dog could drink the water. And it, from what I'm told, is not going to have any cause and effect on anyone.
Then does it just dissolve the plant, or?
It just dissolves it and it sinks. It was amazing. But I'm not used to it, but I was told the truth. She said, we're going to put this in and you're going to see results within a matter of days. And it worked.
Yeah, I believe the chemical attacks the stem, not the root base. It does have some effect on the root base, which is why you will see a reoccurrence with that growth over a period of time. And unfortunately, like I said before, but it controls that growth, and it definitely assists with the recreational enjoyment of the body of water. So wasn't trying to speak poorly as a sportsman, because obviously if that growth gets too heavy, it affects the fishing side of that as well. So it is good to treat that and manage that the best that we possibly can.
My greatest concern this year was the lagoon, as we mentioned in the park area. I'm sure you've seen it or you know of it, was full of it. And you can't stop people from using the water. That's a natural thing. We can use it. There were boats when the water was high enough in and out of there. I know was just churning it up and spreading it, but you can't stop that. What maybe has helped the occurrence now is that the lake has gone down about 8 inches since I put my dock in this spring. As we know, we haven't had rain, at least where I am, forever. So they aren't in the lagoon using it, but I'd still like to treat it or have it treated, because it's like throwing sawdust into the fan. It just would spread. So that's part of the reason I've got this big concern of trying to get this treated this year in this area.
Any other questions or discussion?
I'm glad to see that we have lake associations like Marion and Bell Lake that are willing to access these funds, and our environmental services office is able to help get them. So good work to all that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I'd like to thank the board for your consideration, especially with Mark and all the help he's given me. So thank you both, all of you.
I appreciate you coming, and I mean, it gives a perspective. I mean, a lot of times we do programs and
I
we
know.
spend the money and we don't get a report. It's just good to hear. So
No
I
problem.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Health and Human Services, Barrett. Morning, Barrett.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have one item before you today, and that is to consider adopting Resolution 22CB37, which supports engaging the law firm of Lockridge, Grinnell, and Nowen, LGN, to be the legal representation for McLeod County in the procurement mediations with the Minnesota Department of Human Services, also known as DHS. So, as you may recall, this board has requested mediation from DHS for two of our procurement plans. And on July 7th of this year, the Prime West Joint Powers Board agreed to engage the law firm of Lockridge, Grinnell, and Nowen to be Prime West legal representation for the Department of Human Services mediations. So if all Prime West counties agree to engage LGN, then we can proceed to the mediation as a group of counties, and Prime West is legally established as a joint powers entity of 24 counties. They can then use its surplus dollars derived from our non-Minnesota healthcare programs, business activities to cover these legal costs associated with representing our 24 counties. So this resolution indicates who can legally represent McLeod County in the mediations with DHS.
Questions for Barrett? I mean, we've heard about this several times. I mean, it's got to do with state-based purchasing, and it covers a gamut of different things. But
Move to approve.
motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting Resolution 22CB37, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Employee Relations, good morning again, Hannah.
Good morning. I also just have one item today. Item A, consider extending the Attorney's Office Temporary Technical Specialist 2 role through the end of the year, December 31st, 2022. The board approved a 6-month temporary position through summer of 2022, and this extension is due to changes in staffing and an increased workload. And obviously, Attorney Mike Young can speak to more of that if you'd like, or if there are questions.
Would you like to, Mr. Young?
Okay.
I'm pretty confident in what goes on in that department, so I don't have any questions. Is there any from the board? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion for.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Any more discussion? All in favor of a temporary hire, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Hannah. Slow down the crime. Matt, Technology Manager. Good morning.
Good morning. Excuse me. Here to request consideration of approval of master sales agreement and statement of work from Converge One in Bloomington, Minnesota for installation and configuration of network infrastructure equipment at the county's Hutchinson locations at a cost of $7,627 with funds from the information technology budget. This statement of work provides the services necessary to complete the installation and configuration of network infrastructure equipment that was purchased in November that recently arrived.
Questions for Matt?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Public Works, Andrew. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm here today to consider hiring Evergreen Land Services out of Richfield, Minnesota for right-of-way acquisition services for the SP 43-70-23 roundabout and associated improvements on County State Aid Highway 25 and 115. Costs for appraisal services are based off a set fee ranging from $2,200 to $4,500 per parcel, depending on the parcel's complexity, to a total estimated cost for appraisal services from $22,200 to $32,500, and estimated costs for acquisition services, which include negotiation, project management, correspondence, document management, recording, and other miscellaneous items based on hourly rates at a total cost of approximately $28,932.50. So the total cost of right-of-way acquisition services will be in the range of $51,000 to $61,500.
So what this is saying is the cost of the services are $28,932, and the cost, or what we're thinking it's going to cost us to make these acquisitions is the 51 to the 61. Is that
no?
correct?
This is the appraisal is the first part. The acquiring the property is the second part. This doesn't include the acquisition cost of the property itself. This is what gets paid to the company that we're contracting.
So the expected costs are the bottom one, the 51 to 60.
Yep.
Do you have a guess how many acres are needed for this at all?
It's
No,
not
it's
much.
not
They're
big.
mostly just strip takes. I think the biggest parcel is about an acre and a half.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was much.
Nope. There are 9 total parcels we're seeing that we need to acquire right away from.
Move to approve the hiring of Evergreen Land Services.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve the hiring of Evergreen. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. County Administration, review of calendars. Commissioner Luthens.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had the workshop back on July 5th. Then in the afternoon, I went out and took a look at a couple ditches on County Road 1. And then we had Prime West on the 7th, Zoom meeting. And the next day on the 8th, SM, AM, HC, 9:30. And Sunday, 17th, I went back on County Road 1, County Ditches 13 and 29, 15. They're kind of finishing up on the whole project, so just looking at it one more time. Thank you.
Commissioner Wright.
Okay, we had a workshop on the 5th. On the 6th, our coronavirus relief committee met. On the 13th, joined the parks tour. I was able to attend for most of it. Joe was there for the entire thing. Maybe he's got a more in-depth survey or a report, but has some really nice parks, but there's definitely some things that we can do. I'm glad we took a chance to take a look at them and make some improvements.
Okay, for myself, spent part after board workshop on the 5th, CRF or Corona Relief Fund on the 6th. I also had on the 11th, I had SWCD. I attended their meeting on their updates and what their plans are for the rest of this year and going into 23. On the 14th, I had Drainage Work Group, which is the advisory to the legislature in St. Paul. We had our first in-person meeting since, I don't know, for the last couple of years, so it's always kind of nice to get back into that. The biggest thing going now is a change into the drainage law. There's a push to get a 30-day waiting period on repairs and improvements. And the perspective from my side as working with drainage is the improvement part is not so important. But if we have to file 30-day grace period on improvements. Renville County does 700 and some improvements. We do a couple hundred a year. It would just tie us up. So we're trying to make our case.
You mean maintenance, not improvements, right?
Right. I'm not, what did I say? Yeah, on improvements, I don't have a problem with the 30-day, because it's pretty much covered in an improvement anyhow. There's a long policy that you have to go through to do an improvement, but on a repair, I mean, some of them are acted on right away. You may have a slough, a broken tile, whatever, and we just didn't want to get tied up into a 30-day waiting period to approve with the DNR and Bowser to do the repairs. That is the argument right now, and that's what we're going through. So I hope that's clear, because the improvement I don't have a problem with, and this is me personally, and it's part of our group. I'm mostly in the ag part, but any repair, I mean, you need to act. You may have a slough, you may have a storm, you may have things that you need to get done real quick, and we're resistant to the 30-day waiting period. On the 18th, we had our economic development meeting yesterday, I believe, and we did that by Zoom, and then last night several of us attended the Glencoe City Council meeting, and that brings us to today. So go ahead, Joe.
Also attended the workshop after the last board meeting, the McLeod County Parks tour. Several of us loaded on a Trailblazer bus and hit all the parks throughout McLeod County. There was a lot of discussion on improvements or things that could be done or maybe not done. Lots of great ideas, which often means lots of money. So we got some work to do to identify and prioritize that. I kind of see it as, the really big wish list and then some no-brainer maintenance issues that need to start happening sooner than later, and as long as those point towards the bigger vision of what we want to do, and which is what we're trying to figure out. I say it too often, but sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and that's what we're trying to get to right now. So Trailblazer bus is not the most comfortable thing in the world, sorry Doug, but it really worked well, so thanks to them for chauffeuring us around. It gave us the opportunity to discuss different ideas in between the parks, and honestly, this Bell Lake, what we had today for Bell Lake is all part of that. It all just encompasses what we need to be doing and thinking about those things. So that was good. After that, I guess all I'll talk about is the Fair Board meeting last night. I went to that. I didn't see it myself, but apparently the new gate is in on the east side. I didn't take a look at it myself with my own eyes, but they tell me it's in, and I believe them. So that'll be a good thing to have for this weekend. The Orange Spectacular is there this weekend, and that fills the fairgrounds, and that gate will be needed and utilized, as well as the fair and other events. And then also the signage off of Airport Road, I'm told, will be in by the fair, so that'll be a nice addition. Man, it feels like we've been talking about that forever. I don't know, but it's supposed to be done by the fair, and probably the day before, knowing us, but it'll be, but as long as it's in, and we'll go for there. The grounds look pretty good. I think they're working on cleaning some things up that need to be tidied up, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, the Fair Board's very excited about the admission cost this year, or lack thereof, and bringing in some other attractions for the 150th fair. So it's pretty exciting. They're really, I've been on board 8 years, so I've been put to the Fair Board, signed to the Fair Board for 8 years, and this is the excited I've seen them in a while. I don't know about anybody else, but they're really into it.
Are they going to have a way of keeping track?
Yeah, we've asked, when we did that, we asked them to literally a clicker of people coming in and out. The honest answer is how accurate that will be, because I'll use myself, that comes and goes 4 or 5 times a day throughout the fair. But yes, that is part of it. They still need attendant or volunteers for the gates. that was kind of a problem. People thought, well, we don't need that anymore, but we need that for not only counting, but for directions and different questions that people ask when they go in there, so, yes.
And I'm excited as well between the parks. I mean, there are parks, McLeod County's parks and our fair. I don't know if I am so excited that I'll get you a limo next time you have to go on.
No, I'll stick with the bus, but I'm just telling you, after 6 hours, what was it, 7 hours on it? It got a little.
6 hours. Don't forget we're the cool kids and thought we had sit in the back seat.
Yeah, we did sit in the back, that's right.
You had a cooler?
No, of water.
Oh, we're on TV there.
Ms. Young, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, thank you. Sheila?
Thank you. I know one of our commissioners needs to leave for a memorial service, so just quickly, we will have our park survey that Commissioner Nagel is referencing. That will be going out to all of our communities very soon, this week. It should be ready for Orange Spectacular, so I encourage everyone in the public to watch out for that. Please share it. It will be on social media. It will be posted in our parks, and it will be shared at upcoming events in your communities. So thank you. Item A, consider approving Coronavirus Relief Fund Committee and Budget Committee recommendations to allocate up to $1 million to the Glencoe Highway Shop project with funds from the Coronavirus County Relief Fund. This item was approved by the CRF committee, brought to the Budget Committee, and is recommended for your approval to allocate to that project. And that is to be slotted as a public safety expenditure.
Any questions about that?
If for some reason it doesn't go through, your money can go back, right?
Yes.
So I did outline a more detailed description of how this needs to happen, because we would need to know considerably soon whether or not if it were not going to happen. And I believe that you will be voting on it soon once the quotes and everything come in. So if things with the project were backed up, then yes, the money would go back. It will not be transferred until the project is approved. Thank you.
But those have to be budgeted by the end of this year? And
No.
When is that
December
done?
31st, 2024.
And then spent by the end of 25?
26. December 31st, 2026. However, after December 31st, 2024, you cannot change the allocation of funds at this time. I expect that may change, but for now, that's the final ruling.
Well, and full disclosure, for this project, an up or down vote, that won't be a problem for this, the timing of.
Correct.
So, that was just
That's what I was gonna say. The timing and the way things are falling, it still needs the approval, obviously, but it should all fall together that way, but.
There are no timing concerns currently, and if that becomes an issue, I'd bring it back to the county board. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Is there a
You want
motion?
a motion there?
I do.
Yes.
Need one.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? Again, I think everything has been said that needs to be said, at least for now. So, is there any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will note that the city of Glencoe conveyed their portion of responsibility for the land to move forward with the Glencoe Highway Shop last night at their city council meeting, I believe. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Item B, High Island Creek Watershed upcoming appointment. As you know, with the watershed appointments, they expire. So please note that you will see in the local newspaper the renewal or the posting for that appointment. And if anyone from the public has a question, they can call us at 320-864-1320. Otherwise, please watch the McLeod County Chronicle is our official newspaper, and they will have that posting within there.
And the person sitting in that right now is that Kevin Miller, or?
Should be, yes.
I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
I believe it is. It's Kevin Miller.
Yeah. We're trying to meet the timeline with this,
No,
and
and
so
that's
we
good.
just wanted to put the notification in there, but we don't expect.
Well, we started a policy of getting it out there and allowing interested people to apply, so
Yep.
we need to continue that. So no, that's good.
So every time that that an appointment would be near expiration, then we follow the same process. Item C, not necessary to review bids for the parcels which are on 6th Street, Glencoe, Minnesota, and on Chandler Avenue North as one, because we have not received any. We did have 3 parties interested who did not bid. We do have additional parties interested in that property. However, not with the current arrangement where they would have to purchase it as one, to the best of my knowledge. Since we do not have bids for review, my recommendation would be that if this is allowable, that I would be able to bring a new plan to recommend to the budget committee for our next board meeting.
And, excuse me, but I don't remember, when did the bids close?
This morning at 8:30
They did,
a.m.
okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So do I need permission from the board to bring it to the budget committee for, no? Okay. Item D, notification of use of up to $17,460 of funds from the Coronavirus County Relief Fund to cover costs associated with countywide parks plan project approved by you, the county board, on June 7, 2022. The committee approved the use of these funds from its previously allocated $50,000 miscellaneous county expenditures allocation. So we do not need a motion on this. It's simply letting you know that we are using a portion of that $50,000 to transfer the allocation of the parks study project that you approved. Item E, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022, here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Thank you.
Open forum. Anyone out there that has a question or a subject for the good of the county? Hearing none. Press relations. Don't see any press. I don't see anybody either. But nobody knows that for sure until you just told them. So. But anyway, the next board meeting will be at 9 a.m. Tuesday, August 2nd, here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North in Glencoe. With that, I'd take a motion to recess until that time.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright, seconded by Commissioner Nagel. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're recessed. Thank you.